Hello everyone. Welcome again to another session here with us at Mathematics Resource Center. And today we're looking at multiplying decimals. If you haven't viewed the previous video, go ahead and check them out on adding decimals and subtracting decimals. All right. So without any further delay, let's get into this lesson. All right. So for today, the objectives are: one, we're learning to multiply decimals with whole numbers; two, multiplying decimals with decimals; and three, accurately place the decimal point at the right place. All right, so let's go with our first question. And here it says multiply the following numbers. So the first number is 25.9 times 3. And we're just going to go ahead and multiply as we'd multiply any other number without a decimal point. So the first part that we're going to say is 3 times 9, which is 27, and we're going to go ahead and write our 7 here and bring our 2 here. All right, so there goes our 7, and the 2 comes there. All right, and then the next part we're going to say is 3 times 5, which is 15, plus 2, which is 17. So we're going to go ahead and write down our 7 here again and bring the 1 here to the other column. All right. So 7 goes there and 1 comes here. And then last, we're going to say 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1, which is 7. So our answer is 777. But are we finished? What about the decimal point? Where does the decimal point go? All right, for the decimal point, it's not a case where you're going to bring down the point here and just put it there, right? No. What you're going to do, and this is what I want you to always practice doing, all right? I want you to count behind the decimal point how many digits are there. So when we look at this number 25.9, it's only one digit behind the decimal point. When we look at the number 3, we don't have any digit behind the decimal point, right? So we only have one digit behind the decimal point, and for us to put in our point, we're going to move one time from our right. So we're moving here one time, and our decimal point will come right here. So you might be saying that, but if let me just erase this bit and go again. So we move one time, come here, and there goes the decimal point. All right, good. So you might be saying that if I had just bring down the decimal point from here to here, right, as it appears, then it would for the same place. Yes, for this question it would, but for other question which you'll come across shortly, it won't work. All right, so the proper method is to count the number of digits behind the decimal point for each number and then move your decimal point there from the right. All right, now I'm just going to give you 30 seconds to take a go at number 2 question, and then we go through it together. All right, and we're going to go through in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let's go through now. So the very first thing that we're going to do is to multiply like we're multiplying any other number, and we're going to say 4 times 8, which is 32. So we're going to go ahead and write down our 32. So we're writing our 2 here, and our 3 is going to go there. So 2 here and our 3 here, right? And the next thing that we're going to say is 4 times 9, which is 36. And then we're going to add our 3, which is going to give us 39. And we're going to put our 9 here, and our 3 is going to come here. So there goes our 9, right? And our 3 goes there. And the next thing that we're going to say is 4 times 1, which is 4, plus 3, which is 7. And we're just going to write our 7 right here. All right, good. Now that we have done that, we're going to go ahead and put in our decimal point. All right, so we're going to count the number of digits behind the decimal place, and let me use another color, switching colors. Alright, so we're going to count the number of digits behind the decimal place. And if you look here, it's just one digit that is behind the decimal place. So just one digit there. And if we go down to the next number here, we don't have any digit behind the decimal point. So we'll only have one digit. That means we're moving one time from the right, coming from right to left. Good. So we're going to put our point right here. Good. And that's it for these two questions. Let's continue to number 3. So here we multiply, same instruction, multiply the following numbers. And we're just going to go ahead and set out the number, right? Right, switching inks, all right? So we have 31.09 times 4. And with multiplication, there's no great emphasis on alignment, right? Because we're just trying to ensure that we do the multiplication properly, and then we fill in, count the number of digits behind the decimal point, and that's basically it. All right, so there's no great emphasis on alignment, like there is when you're doing addition and subtraction. So let's continue. So we're going to say 4 times 9, which is 36. We're going to write our 6 here and bring our 3 to the other column. So here goes our 6 and our 3 comes here. Then we're going to say 4 times 0, which is 0, plus 3, which is 3. So there goes our 3 here. All right. Are we going to bring down the decimal point here? No, we're not bringing down the decimal point as yet. We're not bringing down a decimal point. That's not the method that we're using to put in our decimal points, because it can be incorrect. It might be correct in some cases, but can be or is incorrect in most cases. All right. So we're going to go ahead and say 4 times 1, which is 4. And then we're going to go ahead and say 4 times 3, which is 12. We don't have another column to go to here, so we're going to go ahead and write down our entire 12 right here. Now that we have completed the multiplication, we can go ahead and add our decimal point. And to add our decimal point, we're going to go ahead and count the number of digits behind the decimal point. So we look here, we have 1, 2. All right, so that is 2, 1, 2. So that's 2. And if we look down here, we don't have any. So that means we only have 2 digits behind the decimal place. So we're only going to move 2 times. So this is going to be 1 and then 2. Let's do that. So we move 1 and then 2, and our decimal point goes right there. Good. Now you have 30 seconds to do number 4. Go in. Okay, so let's go to number 4. So we're going to go ahead and write down our 22.14 times 3, right? And we're just going to go ahead and multiply like we're doing any other multiplication. So it's 3 times 4, which is 12. So we go ahead and put our 2 here and carry our 1. And then it is going to be 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 1, which is 4, which goes there. And then we're going to go ahead and say 3 times 2, which is 6, goes here. By the way, do we bring our decimal point in as yet? I'm listening. No, we don't. All right. And then we're going to continue by saying 3 times 2, which is 6. So we have 6642. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and count the number of digits behind our decimal point. And in doing so, we have 1, 2 digits here. And when we come to the next number down here, we don't have any digit behind the decimal point. So we only have 2 digits behind the decimal point. So we're going to go ahead and put in our decimal points. Counting from our right, moving to our left, we're going to go ahead and count 1, 2 steps, and our decimal point goes right there. Good. Okay, so we're continuing. We're at number 5 and number 6 question. So let's continue. So we have 50.49 times 23, right? So we're going to go ahead and multiply as we would have in any other case. So it's 3 times 9, which is 27. 3 times, so bring our 2 here. 3 times 4. 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 2, which is 14. Bring our 1 there. Then we're going to say 3 times 0, which is 0, plus 1, which is 1. Good. Do we bring down our decimal point as yet? No, we're going to wait to make sure that we have the correct number of digits behind our decimal point to put in our decimal point. So let's continue. We have 3 times 5, which is 15. So our 5 goes there. Do we have another column to put the 1? No, so we're just going to put down our 1 here as well. Now that we're finished with the 3, let's go to the 2. So the 2, we're going to start with 2 times 9, which is 18. So we write down our 8, and our 1 is going to come right here. So we're just going to remove that 2 that we had before, removing that 2 and that 1. So our 1 comes right here. And then we're going to say 2 times 4 plus 1, which is 9, which goes here. And we're going to say 2 times 0, which is 0, right? And then we say 2 times 5, which is 10. And write it all down. All right. So as mentioned before, the alignment for writing down the digits, this aspect here isn't necessarily important, but for this part, it is more than important. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add our digits, right? And here we do not have, right here, we do not have a digit there. So we're just going to go ahead and put a 0 as a placeholder, and then we're going to add. Now let's add 0 plus 7, 8 plus 4, which is 12. So we bring our 1 there. 9 plus 1 plus 1, which is 11, right? 5 plus 1, which is 6, and 0 plus 1, which is 1, and 1 right there. Now we're going to go ahead and count the number of digits behind the decimal point. And in counting the number of digits, we have 1, 2, and we don't have any digits here. So we just have 2 digits behind the decimal point, 2 there. So we're counting from our right, coming around 2 slots, and our decimal point goes there. Good. Now take 30 seconds to work on number 6. Remember, you can pause the video if you need additional time, complete the question, and then you can come back to the video, okay? And we're working the solution in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So getting the ink, good. So we have 32.04 times 31. Good. So we're going to just go ahead and multiply. Multiply 1 by everything here, and that will just give us 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 0, 2, 3. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and multiply 3 by everything here, and that will just give us, and remember we started with our 3, so our first digit must be here, right? Because we have started with the ones, and now we're at the 10, so our first digit is going to be there. So it's 3 times 4, which is 12. So carry that 1. So right then 2, carry the 1. 3 times 0, which is 0 plus 1, which is 1. 3 times 2, 6. And 3 times 3, 9. We're going to go ahead and add. We do not have a digit here, so we're going to put a 0 as the placeholder. And we add 0 plus 4, 4. 0 plus 2, 2. 1 plus 2, 3. 6 plus 3, 9. And bring down this 9. Now, we're going to count the amount of digits, sorry, behind the decimal place point. So it's 1, 2 digits behind the decimal point. So we're going to count from our right those 2 digits. So counting from our right, we go 1, 2, and our decimal point comes right there. Right? So that's it. So now we're at the point where multiplying decimals by decimals. Okay, the numbering is a bit off, so forgive us about the numbering, right? So let's just it. So now we're going to multiply 0.49 times 0.3 times 9, which is 27. So we put our 7 there, and then we're going to say 3 times 4, which is 12. So we're just going to write down our 2 here, carry our 1 there, and then it is 3 times 0, which is 0 plus 1, which is just 1. Alright. Now we're going to put in our decimal point, and what we're going to do is to count the number of digits behind the decimal point. I want you to look at this carefully, and let me just erase that 2 and bring this in a bit. Right, good. Let's look at this a bit. If we were supposed to place our decimal point, where would you have placed it? Would you have placed it here, or would you have placed it there, or would you have placed it there? You're not so sure now, right? And even if the numbers were aligned as 0.49 and 0.3, right? So if they were aligned, you would have had your 7 there, your 2 there, and your 1 there. So you would have placed it here. That's what you're saying. All right, let's look at what's happening now. For us to place our decimal point, we're going to count the number of digits behind the decimal point. So it's 1 here, 2 there. That's in the top. And then another one there, which is 3. Good. So now let's move 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So our decimal point comes here. And since there's no more digit, we'd add a 0 there. So our answer would be 0 point, sorry, our answer would be 0.127. And that's our answer. See the difference with the answer that you would have gotten here? See, you'd have 1.27, but it's actually 0.127. Hence me saying over and over in the beginning not to use the decimal point as you would have in adding and subtracting. All right, so let's just clear this. All right, hope you avoid this mistake in the future if you're doing any multiplication of decimal by decimal. All right, so let's continue. Getting our red ink. So for this one, it's 0.08 times 0.4. And this time I've decided to do the alignment, right? And just to show you that whether I do the alignment or I don't do the alignment for this aspect, just this top aspect I'm talking about, right? It doesn't make a difference in your answer, all right? But for what we do here, anything we do here, alignment is important. In this section right here, alignment is important. All right, so let's continue. So we're going to multiply our 4 by 8, which gives us 32. Our 2 goes here, our 2 goes there, and our 3 comes there. And then we're just going to go ahead and say 4 times 0, which is 0, plus 3, which is 3. Given that, we've realized that uh, here we only have 0. We have a 0 here and we have 0 here. We didn't even have to go through the process of saying just 4 times 0. We could have just written down the entire 32 because the number here is 0. Alright, so let's continue. Now that we have done the multiplication, and even though we have a 0 at the front, it won't change our answer, so we're not going to go through that step, right? So we're just going to go ahead and put in our decimal point. So we're going to count the amount of digits behind the decimal point for the first number here, which is 1, 2, and for the second one down here, which is 1. So in total, it's 1, 2, 3. So that's 3. Good. So now we're going to move coming from our right to left for 3 times. So that's going to be 1, 2, and 3. So our decimal point is here. But if you look closer, this slot is empty. Unlike these 2 slots, which have a digit, this doesn't. So as we have used before, what number as placeholder? 0. We're going to use a 0 as a placeholder here, right? And we can also use a 0 for the placeholder for the whole number section. So now our answer is 0.032. Good? Let's continue. So, as said before, don't pay attention to the number, it's a bit off. But let's get to multiplying the question. And I'm going to do the first one to the left, and you're going to take an attempt at the second one. So let's go. We're doing 13.49 times 1.23. All right, and we're going to go ahead and multiply as normal. So it is going to be 3 times 9, which, or in other words, it's going to be 3 times everything here. So that's going to give me 27. 3 times 9, which is 27. 3 4 is 12 and 2, 14. 3 3 is 9 and 1 10. and 3, 1, 3, and 1, 4. Moving down to the next number, which is 2, so it's going to be 2 times every number here. So we have 2 times 9, which is 18, carry over 1 here. 2 times 4, 8 plus 1, 9. 2 times 3, 6, and 2 times 1, 2. Now we're going to go with our 1 times everything here. So it's going to be 1 times 9, which is 9, 1 times 4, which is 4, 1 times 3, which is 3, and 1 times 1. If you realize that each time I am multiplying, I start my answers under the number I'm multiplying with. So I'm multiplying with the 3, my first digit starts under the 3. When I'm multiplying with the 2, my first digit starts under the 2, right, which is 8, which starts under the 2. When I'm multiplying with the 1, my first digit starts under the 1. Not so accurate, so let me see if I fix that. All right, so it looks like it, yes. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and add. Before we add, we're going to put in our placeholder, which is a 0 here, a 0 there, and a 0 there. So adding now, we have 7 here, 8 plus 4, which is 12, 9 plus 9 plus 1, which is 19, 6 and 4 plus 4 and 1, which is 15, 3 and 2 and 1, which is 6, and a 1 there. All right, so now that we have done our addition, we're going to go ahead and put in our decimal point. First, to put in our decimal point, we're going to count the amount of digits behind the decimal place. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 digits. So our answer is 16.5927. Good. All right, so that's our answer for that one. So take 30 seconds, go at this one. Remember that you can pause the video, work out the question, and then come back to the video. And we're going through the solution in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let's write down our number, which is 35.26 times 2.24. Right? Now we're going to take our 4 here and multiply every digit here. So let's just do that. So 4 times 6, which is 24, bring our 2. 4 times 2, which is 8 and 2, 10, carry our 1. 4 times 5, which is 20 and 1, 21. And 4 times 3, which is 12, and 2, 14. Good. So now we're going to go with the next digit, which is our 2. So we're going to say 2 times every digit here. So it's 2 times 6, which is 12. 2 times 2, which is 4 and 1, 5. 2 times 5, which is 10. 0, carry the 1 there. 2 times 3, which is 6 and 1, 7. Alright, we're going to go with the final digit, which is our 2 here. So it's 2 times every digit here. So 2 times 6, which is 12. So our 2 goes there and our 1 goes there. or 1 there. 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 1, which is 5. 2 times 5, which is 10, carry a 1 over here. And 2 times 3, 6, and 1, 7. Now we're going to go ahead and add. We realize that we do not have any digits in these slots, so we're going to fill it with a placeholder, which is a 0. Now adding 4, 2, 1 plus 5 plus 2, that is 8. 4 plus 5, that is 9. 1 plus 7, that is 8. And 7 there. Now that we've done all of that aspect, we're going to go ahead and put in our decimal point. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 digits behind decimal point. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and we put our decimal point right there. All right. So our answer is indeed 78.9824. Right? Hope you got that correct. Good. So let's continue. Now we're at the problem solving stage. Yay! All right, good. So, problem solving, basically you applying what you have learned earlier to the questions, right? So let's go with the first question. Henry is paid £8.60 per hour. He works 9 hours in a week. Work out how much Henry should be paid. So we're doing multiplication. We could have added, yes, and add £8.60 9 times, but we can just easily multiply. So let's multiply. So we're going to have our £8.60 times 9, right? So that is going to be 9 times 0, which is 0. 6 nines, which is 54. Bring our 5 there. And 8 times 9, which is 72, plus 5, which is 77. So our 7 goes there, and our next 7 goes there. Now we're going to go ahead and put in our decimal point. So it's 1, 2 digits after the decimal place. So from our right, we count 1, 2, and our answer is £77.40. Okay, now the next question here, they have given us another input, and asking us for the output. So let's work it out. It says 3.8 times 7. Multiplying, so we have 8 times 7, which is 56. 7 times 3, which is 21, plus 5, which is 26. Right? Now we're going to figure out our decimal point, and it's 1 digit after the decimal place. So from our left, we count 1 digit, and our decimal point goes right here. Good. All right, so let's continue. So here now we have a rectangle, and we're calculating the area of a rectangle. And for a rectangle, how do we find the area of a rectangle? It is area equal length times width. So the length is 19.4. So for us to get the area, it is going to be 19.4 times 8. All right, so let's work that out. 19.4 times 8. 4 eighths is 32. So we bring our 2 there. And so bring our 3 there, and 8, 9 is 72 plus 3, which is 75. So our 5 goes there, and our 7 goes there, and 7, 1, and 8, 1 is 8 plus 7, which is 15. Good. Now we're going to count the amount of digits that we have behind the decimal point, and it's 1 digit here, so we bring our decimal point right there, right? And our answer is 155.2 centimeter. Good job. All right, let's continue. So now we're at the spot the mistake. And you've been doing all these questions. Let's see if you can spot the mistake in this question. I'm giving you 5 seconds to think about what the mistake is. All right, let's go. 5 seconds is up. So, looking at what Shamar have done, so it said below Shamar write down the result for one of his homework question. Is Shamar's solution correct? Look, 4 times 9, which is 36, so I put the 6 there and carry the 3. Then he says 4 times 0, which is 0 plus 3, and get the 3. And then Shamar just come over here and just bring down the decimal point and put the 0 here. What did Shamar do wrong? But when I look at it, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits behind the decimal place. And in Shamar's answer, he have only 2 digits. So let's correct that. Shamar should have gone and said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for these slots, he would have put zeros and his decimal point there. And then he could also add a 0 there for placeholder for the whole number section. So Shamar's answer should have been 0.00036. Wow, that's a big difference. It is. Let's continue. So now we get to the diagnostic questions, and you have 5 seconds to read the question and answer. And we're going to highlight the correct answer in 3, 2, and 1. The answer is C. Hope you got that. All right, so let's go to the second one. 0.32 times 0.8. And we're highlighting the correct answer in 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is 0.256, right? Let's go. Third one. What is the area of this rectangle? Area for rectangle, length times width. So it's 0.23 meters times 0.7. And we're highlighting our correct answer in 3, 2, and 1. So highlighting the answer is 0.161 meters square. As I see this answer, I realize that we left something off on our answer here, which is the square. All right, so it should have been centimeter square and not just centimeter. Good? All right. So thanks for this question that reminds me of that. All right. And then finally, we come to the homework. So as you know, you complete your homework task. The link will be in the description below for you to go to the solution and mark your homework on your own as soon as you're through. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. All right, it was a pleasure being here with you today, teaching you another topic, and look forward to the other upcoming topic, which is dividing decimal. Until then, bye bye.